May seems to be the month of new K-pop releases. From groups to solo artists, mini albums, and full-length albums, there's something for every K-pop fan. Now let's find out more on the latest in the world of K-pop with our K-pop expert, Jeff Benjamin, connected to us now. Hello, Jeff.
Hello, Jeff.
Hello, happy May, you guys.
Happy May. Well, first off, let's start with BTS Jin. As Walter reported on K-Enter, Jin's latest solo mini album, Echo, was released on Friday. It's receiving so much love already. So, Jeff, what do you think of it?
Yeah, I think once again, as expected from any BTS member, this is a great piece of work. I actually think I like this album better than Jin's first debut solo album that we got only 6 months ago. So he's been really working hard. And Echo, it has a bit more emotion in this album. We see here with his title track single, "Don't Say You Love Me." Unless I got that title wrong. There's a lot of emotions in this album, and also it goes through a lot of styles of rock. We know Jin loves rock music. It goes from everything from country, punk rock, British rock. We get all different kinds of styles here. So Jin is really doing good, and personally, I quite like this album, and I'm having a good time listening to it.
Yeah, well, Walter and I were talking about the album before, and it kind of reminds us of the times when we listened to Western pop a lot, like when we were little, kind of like the 90s and 2000s vibe as well.
Yes, I completely agree. And it's great that you enjoyed the album almost better than the first album, because, that second album is always, there's more pressure to produce that second album to make it better, right? And today, obviously, it being Monday here in Korea, we have a list of new releases I mentioned in K-Enter as well. Please tell us from whom they are, from what you know, and which ones are grabbing your attention the most.
Yeah, it's a really packed day. It's going to be a really exciting day. There's a lot to get into. One that I'm really personally excited about, just because he always brings it, is another soloist from another big boy group, Baekhyun of EXO. He'll be back with his fifth mini album, The Essence of Reverie. And I'm so excited for this, not only because I always really enjoy, he's a great vocalist. He's given a tease of the album through this pre-release track, Chocolate, that once again is giving really good R&B vibes. But it's all before his world tour this year, and he's never gone on a solo world tour. So finally, maybe you guys have seen him already. Us in America, we've never gotten to see Baekhyun on his own. So I'm so excited for that. Another big guy coming out, Kim Jae-jung, of course, of JYJ fame and originally TVXQ. He is coming out. Last year, he celebrated 20 years in the industry with an album, and now he's just continuing on. I think very strongly his new single is called Rockstar, and I think that's just very appropriate for someone like him who just continues on and keeps things very exciting. Can't wait to see what he brings. And also, this one might be a little unexpected, but I want to give a shout out to the new girl group BVS, who is releasing their first mini album today as well. Actually, their producer, Paul Thompson, came onto Arirang and announced girl group's debut when their first album was coming on. So I think we got to give a shout out to them, because they've given some hints and tastes of the album so far with songs like Tea and Perfect. And I really think this girl group could be one to look out for. So that's VVS from Mars Music, aka Paul Thompson, coming out today.
Yes, we were already very excited when we heard from Paul about this new girl group coming out. And also Baekhyun as well, Kim Jae-jung, many solo artists as well. So Jeff, why are we seeing this amazing lineup in the month of May? Is that just a coincidence, or do you think there is a specific reason?
I think it's because, right before summer, everyone wants that summer hit, right? We want to kind of, put our place, make sure that we can kind of, have the song of the summer, make something that, gets people very aware. At Billboard, actually, there's the Song of the Summer chart, where they kind of track, what are the biggest songs, specifically for the summer months. And it's kind of like an honor to be named Song of the Summer. So I think we're kind of seeing all these artists, it's the middle of May, we're winding down, getting into June. And I think it's kind of like, how can we get our feet in? How can we, start in an exciting way and really kind of get noticed? Because before you know it, it'll be fall, the winter ceremonies, award shows will all be here. So, it feels like, okay, spring is a really good time to just make sure we get our feet in the door and make sure we don't get lost, on the way here.
It's quite interesting, with K-pop becoming even bigger and bigger. And now we're into our so many years now of K-pop. We have to change a little bit, we have to reinvent ourselves, reinvent the genre a little bit. Are there any interesting or creative approaches we see in the promotion of the latest songs or albums, or that you're seeing?
Yeah, I think you guys mentioned Rise before, and that's
Yeah.
another really big album coming out, to their first full-length album. And what's really cool about this Rise album specifically is that they actually created kind of a whole cinematic film. There's a 40-minute film that accompanies the album, and kind of surprising, actually, they premiered it with fans beforehand. Fans could see it in the cinema, or they could watch it on their Weverse if you were a member there. So on one hand, you might be a little worried that the music and the visuals might leak, but I think this has just got the excitement, going higher. Fans are very excited to see, all these different tracks, all these different sounds. And, even like looking at the album track names, it's very intriguing to wonder how they're going to bring songs like Ember to Solar and the new single Fly Up or Midnight Mirage. How do you bring these songs to life, and how do you bring them to life in Rise's universe? So it's a really exciting and cool concept, and I'm very excited to see where they go from here. Maybe one day we'll get it in theaters in America. Who knows? I hope so.
Well, great stuff. Now let's move over to a girl group. We're going to talk a little bit about Idol. Maybe some are still a bit more familiar with their former name, G-Idol. So they returned with a new name for the first time since 7 years. So what can we make of this change from G-Idol to Idol?
Yeah, that was, I think, a really cool and progressive move. The backstory behind this is that when they were known as G-Idol or Yoja Idol, which kind of, the G representing girl, essentially, saying, they're idols, but they are, girl idols in that way. And now the backstory is that Idol did renew their contracts with their record label, Cube Entertainment. And I think with that, they got a lot of say and a lot of, control within their art and their future works. So one of these big changes that we're seeing now is the name change to not be G-Idol, but just Idol. I think it's kind of a cool idea. It's a more universal name. It's saying, we're not just for one gender, or we don't represent, one group of people. We're for everyone. Idol is definitely a more, universal term in that way. And I think what I hope is that we're going to see it in the music as well. I think we're going to see these kind of elements of freedom, liberation, taking control of one's story. We're kind of seeing some of the visuals right here. The girls are, partying, doing their own thing, maybe not acting like the traditional, K-pop idol we might have known in the past, but instead, just really living for themselves and enjoying themselves and making something that they're truly proud of, and, that could represent themselves. So I'm really curious to see where this concept goes, where the comeback goes, and how the music will follow. But yeah, it might be a little tricky at first, but yeah, it's no longer G-Idol or Yoja Idol. It is simply Idol now.
Fighting to Idol.
Yes, so let's actually talk about, a boy group now. So we'll talk about 17 marking their decade anniversary. The group will release a full-length album later this month. What can we expect from this one, do you think?
Ooh, yeah, I think this is going to be another a really big one. By the way, it's so funny. 2015 was a huge year for K-pop like debuts. I just remember it being like so big. That's the year of Twice. That's the year of Oh My Girl, and of course 17, who are coming back with a big celebration for their new album, Happy Birthday. This is going to be a special full-length album. It's going to have a lot of like different tracks, some solo tracks. They're also announced a new unit for 17 is coming this year, and they're doing it really big. This is just like, one album and that's going to be it. They're going to perform on the I hope I'm saying this right, Jamsugyo Bridge in Seoul for the upcoming album. I don't think any group has ever performed on that before, so that's going to be so huge. Timbaland, who is obviously an iconic producer who's done everything, his music, Aaliyah, Nelly Furtado, Justin Timberlake, just so many huge songs throughout the years. He's going to be featured on the album. And of course, as we know, 17, as the self-producing and self-writing group that they are, they're sure to bring a lot of musical surprises, a lot of excitement. So this 17 album, I think, is going to be a really big one. And they clearly want to make sure it's big. I know some friends who have even flown out to Korea just to celebrate for it.
Right. I heard it's going to be a big celebration. Well, Jeff, I'm afraid that's all the time we have. It looks like we have so many great music to listen to in the month of May. There are also some rookie bands that have new releases, like from Meow and also Kickflip. The list goes on. Well, thank you very much for your K-pop insights today, Jeff. Talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Jeff.
Guys.
And thank you, Walter. We'll talk to you again very soon.
See you very soon.